So, a little background on Batman and Robin New 52. Damian was introduced by Grant Morrison, created by Grant Morrison in 2011. Full spoilers for all the DC universe here. Shortly after Damian's introduction, Batman dies in Final Crisis. He's dead up until the events of Flash point, and then that's when DC reboots into the New 52. And Batman's alive. He was really just lost in time. They got him back through a Batman and Robin comic that was closely connected to the return of Bruce Wayne, and that was Grant Morrison, while Dick Grayson was Batman, Damian was Robin. Now, boom, we're in New 52. Batman's back, and Batman's story, unlike most other DC characters, his continuity just continued. It wasn't a reboot for Batman. All the previous stuff still counted, unlike your Superman, your Wonder Woman. The only other one was Green Lantern. So Green Lantern's continuity continued as well. And that's probably because Batman and Green Lantern comics were having a lot of success pre-New 52. It was Grant Morrison and then Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. So very successful, and those two characters' continuity continues. Anyway, so now we pick up with Damian Wayne and Bruce Wayne, Batman and Robin, father and son. And it's just incredible, dude. Like, even just the first volume, seeing their dynamic, seeing how they work together, it is just simple, classic Batman and Robin crime fighting, which I absolutely love. And it evolves into some pretty fantastical stuff later, which went too far, in my opinion, for Bat family content, but we'll get into that. The whole series is incredible. Volume 1 remains actually my favorite volume. I have all of them ranked. I'll say that on the episode at some point, but they deal with so much. Like, they both want to be the best father, be the best son, but there's so much conflict. And somehow they made such a cool Batman story that gives you everything you want from Batman comics, while there's this deep emotional layer of father and son and the dynamic and the drama between them. And I think bringing Damian's one of the best characters, not one of my favorite, I'm just saying one of the best characters DC has introduced to the lore. And I kind of think that about John Kent too. Making Bruce Wayne an actual father, making Superman an actual father helps their characters shine, helps them stand out in certain ways. And you could see their difference in parenting, just like we see their difference in their crime fighting styles. So it's just like a perfect little Batman and Robin book. I don't think it's going to be hard to beat this one. So that's my rambling. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, no, you took the words out of my mouth. I think before I even talk about the New 52 run, I want to first highlight the fact that, like you mentioned earlier, there was a Batman and Robin one created by Grant Morrison. During that time, Tomasi and Gleason also wrote, I think, 3 or 4 issues of that Batman and Robin arc as well. And so before Tomasi and Gleason started New 52 and they did the whole continuity reset, they were writing Dick Grayson as Batman and Damian Wayne as Robin, and this short little arc. I think it was called The Dark Knight versus The White Knight. And
Oh, yeah.
that was such a great, it's, if you get the omnibus, it's how it starts. It's that 4-issue arc, and then it jumps into New 52.
The New 52 Batman and Robin omnibus starts with Dark Knight versus White Knight.
Yeah, because it's
Oh,
the same
interesting.
creative team. Well, this omnibus technically doesn't say New 52. It just says Batman and Robin by Patrick Gleason and Peter J. Tomasi. But side note, I love Dick Grayson as Batman. I think it's one of the most interesting things DC does when we do have those moments. That's why I love Grant Morrison's Batman. That's why I love Black Mirror. I love Gates of Gotham. I just started reading Nightfall, Night's End, and that was like the first time in the 90s, or not Night's End, but Prodigal. That's the first time in the 90s where Dick Grayson becomes Batman after like Azrael takes over, and then Bruce beats Azrael, and he's like, I need to go away for a little bit, and so Dick Grayson becomes Batman. Long story short, I love a good story where Dick Grayson is Batman. I think it's so interesting, and it gives us a lot of opportunity to see what a more lighthearted Batman looks like, what a Batman who isn't as confident in himself looks like. I think it's really cool because Batman is such a cold and calculated and concise character. He knows every single step he needs to take, and having Dick Grayson be Batman and have to fake that confidence, have that faux ability to, think he knows what he's doing is right, is so interesting. And so off the rip, right, like before we even get into New 52, their characterization of Dick Grayson as Robin and Dick Grayson as Batman and Damian Wayne as Robin is so perfect, right? I'll be honest, the villain, the White Knight, not the most interesting villain, but The dynamic between Damian and Dick is so heartfelt. It's so compelling, and it captures everything that I love about the Morrison Batman and Robin run. And we get that beautiful Patrick Gleason artwork. Another little tidbit, I love seeing the different ways artists draw Dick Grayson's Batman. I think it's very subtle. Like it's not the biggest difference in the world, but like you can kind of tell like he doesn't fill out the suit as much, right? It's a little bit more of a slender Batman. And like the way he moves around, he's still moving like Batman, but maybe he's a little bit more aerobatic because Dick Grayson got those circus boy genes, he can really stretch himself out. Pause, that's crazy. But, off the bat, I was super sucked in before we even got to the New 52 stuff, and I just want to highlight that because I think it is a very underlooked part of their contributions to Batman and Robin. But then we finally get to New 52, and everything you said is there, right? Like Bruce as Batman again, Damian as Robin, this at odds relationship where father and son, they don't understand each other. Damian is just this arrogant little brat, and Bruce is trying to grow, right? Like in the first volume, Bruce is trying to be a better person. He's trying to overcome his trauma. He takes Damian to the spot where he saw his parents get killed, and he's trying to it's like the anniversary of his parents' death, and Bruce is trying to be like, I'm trying to let go of this, right? I don't want this to define me who I am anymore. I have kids. I have you. I have a son. You're the same age I was when my parents got killed. I want you to see where I come from, and I want to train you and make you a better and stronger boy than I ever was. And it's so tender, and it's such a powerful moment because we rarely get this side of Bruce Wayne where he acknowledges his I guess lack of emotional regulation. Damian responds to this just by being a little brat. He's like, whatever, dude, like get over it. Your parents are dead. It's not that big of a deal. It happened 20, 30 years ago, man. And it's so annoying as an audience member because you're just like, dude, like Damian, your dad's not like not that chill. Like, come on, let him have his little moment. And I think that kind of like Bruce trying to be better for what seems like the first time in ever, with Damian not understanding the importance and impact of that, makes this book so compelling to me, truly.
Yeah, their dynamic is weird. Damian is such a dick in this. He really wants to please his father, but he's a huge dick, especially in one of the arcs. It's volume 2. Like, I really enjoyed seeing Damian and Red Hood interact, Nightwing, but he was constantly just too much of a dick. It got annoying. And he also beat the crap out of Tim Drake when they first met in the Morrison run. So that's crazy. He's a huge dick. And like Batman, I don't know. I always remember wanting to see a little bit of like more like a Batman. Like, dude, why did you just beat the crap out of one of my Robins, dude? That conflict right there is like they fought brutally and it just kind of got brushed aside. They might have mentioned it.
Have you read Battle for the Cowl? Does it? I haven't read that. I've heard that book kind of addresses it, but I'm not totally sure.
I mean, it's what it sounds like, right? Everyone's fighting for the Batman cowl, but Red Hood is the one who like claims it and he's killing everybody, so that's not Batman. And I don't remember Damian's role in that, to be honest, but it's a really fun Bat Family book. Super crazy.
I will say there's this one arc in the Tomasi and Gleason New 52 Batman and Robin run where Damian is kind of going around and messing with all of the different characters. He's messing with Dick, he's messing with Jason a lot, and he's messing with Tim, trying to like assert himself as like the alpha.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. It's really funny to see this like just bratty kid trying to best all of these like skilled and proven Robins, and he gets away with it. Like Damian, the thing about Damian is that he's so arrogant, he's such a dick, he's so bratty, but he has the skills to back it up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's written so competently. He's written as so competent.
And I think the second arc you're referring to is that with I think his name is Ducard. He's like Bruce's not childhood friend, but it's this guy that Bruce trained with before he was Bat.
Is his name Nobody? His like mask name?
I think so.
That's volume 1. I think that's volume 1.
Okay.
Well, before you get into that, let me do this. I'm gonna go through my ranking and we'll talk about it arc by arc.
Okay, let's do that.
Starting at my least favorite was volume 5. And that's where I don't even know what the general idea is about, but that's where they did the Two-Face origin and redid it. Didn't like any of that stuff. That was my least favorite arc. I think that was a stupid way to rewrite Two-Face. You didn't need to do anything for that character. His origin is literally in one of the most iconic Batman comics ever. You can't just change that. I mean, Dark Victory, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. His origin is already set in place. Didn't need to change it. Plus, it came out of one of the best Batman comics ever. So, I mean, why did you need to do that? It had nothing. It didn't have a lot to do with any Damian story or the overall story of the New 52 Batman and Robin. So, easily my least favorite arc.
Yeah, I'm trying to flip through right now. The only thing I could really remember is that they introduced this female character. I can't even remember what her name was, but she played a big role in it. I think Two-Face did something to her. She's like a mob boss's daughter or something, and I guess Harvey locked her up. And so she comes back, right?
And she was actually the Two-Face. Am I thinking of the same story, or I'm thinking of Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. Remember when Two-Face was...
Yeah, it's his sister, right?
Yeah.
It's hold
That's
on,
different.
I just flipped to it. It's this redhead girl. Yeah. And I think she's also like Bruce's friend as well. And so it's this girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could agree with that. I think that's probably, I thought it was interesting enough. I just don't think I was super compelled by the mystery to really be sold on like, why do we need a new Two-Face origin right now? I do think it was really enjoyable. I will say I don't think that's my least favorite arc, but I'm curious to see what you got next.
Next, my second least favorite arc is in Volume 2. Now, this one I'm pretty sure has a Death in the Family crossover. No, it doesn't. Oh, this is the one where I think he's messing with all the Bat family. And they are... I couldn't even tell you who the villain is in this one.
Well, the villain is this. It's this guy who he's like. I just saw a picture of him. It's this guy in this little chair, and he's all like deformed.
Right.
I don't know what the heck he does. I can't even remember.
Yeah, this one didn't stand out. This is Volume 2 Pearl. There was a couple things I liked. They did have they flash back to a young training scene of him training as, before he met Batman. I really liked that. But it was also him just being overly dickish to the Bat family.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for my lower ranked ones, it's obviously hard to remember exactly what they're about because I just didn't enjoy them. So Volume 5 last place, Volume 2 second to last place. And then pretty much else, as far as story-wise, is way easier to remember and consider. So my third to last place is the last one, with the Hellbat going to Apocalypse. And it's just way too much for a Bat family, dude. The Bat family shine with the grounded, crime fighting. They're so cool because they don't have powers. That's what makes them so cool. I will say, seeing Batman throw on a Hellbat armor and go to a Apocalypse and tear shit up, that was cool. Just in its own, that's awesome. But yeah, man, that didn't do anything for me. I don't want to see Damian with powers. It's just too much.
I actually really enjoyed that arc. I do think
it's
it gets
fun,
a little
yeah.
fantastical, but I think it's one of those moments where you got to check your brain at the door and just have fun with the art, just have fun with the action. You get so many cold Batman one-liners, right? Him standing toe to toe with Darkseid in the Hellbat armor, just throwing hands, and you get that really beautiful moment where he can like choose to save his parents or choose to save Damian. And it's just this full circle moment tying all the way back to the beginning of the book, right? Where he like is like, I love you, like I want to be a father for you. I'm letting go of this trauma. And then he has to actually confront it, right? He has the potential to change the trajectory of his life, bring back the people that caused him to go down this path, but he chooses his son. And it's so heartfelt. It's so, I don't know, it's a really great Bat family moment. I think maybe they could do without the Bat family. I think it'd be fine as just like Batman kind of going against the Justice League. But I like that added layer of the Bat family. I always enjoy a good Bat family story. I think they're really fun characters when treated correctly. I've been reading a lot of 90s Batman, so I read No Man's Land and what else did I like Nightfall. I read Murderer Fugitive, and I also read, what else did I read? That might be it, actually. But I've been reading a bunch of Bat family stories, and I've realized that I think the Bat family is so big, and I used to not really like them very much because I thought it was very overwhelming and there's too many characters. But when you really go back to the 90s, start there, start to understand who these extra characters are, I think their dynamics become way more interesting. And I like how they ground Bruce. I think it's a family. The point of a family is to ground each other and help each other out and call each other out when you need to. And I think the Bat family serving as that kind of moral compass for him is really compelling for me, at least. But I get where you're coming from. It's very fantastical, very over the top, and it doesn't feel like a Batman story anymore.
Yeah, but you are right. It's very fun. It's like really fun. Like you said, just the superficial action. Sit back and enjoy it. It's like your popcorn in your face action movie. So that's fine. Yeah, it's third to last place, and I still enjoy it, bro. I really do.
Like, okay, look at this. Just look at this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
Batman
so
versus
sick.
Darkseid. Like, what more can you ask for? I also love the Bat family. To be honest, Tinian's Rebirth Batman Detective Comics was my tipping point where I really liked them. They did such a good job with the extended Bat family, like Cassandra Cain as Spoiler. That's her name, just Spoiler. And then, or maybe that's the other one. That's
No,
the
spoiler
purple
is
hooded.
Stephanie Phillips.
Yeah,
Or
Stephanie.
Stephanie Brown.
Brown, right.
Yeah.
And then Cassandra Cain is some kind of crazy assassin. She is such a badass. I forgot her hero name, but love her.
She goes by, I think, Batgirl or Batwoman.
No, it's not. It's not a Batgirl or Batwoman. It's like she looks more like a ninja.
Okay.
She's got all this black stuff on. But Batwoman's in there too. She shines. And then Tim Drake. That's where I really fell in love with Tim Drake. Have you read Tinian's Rebirth Batman Detective?
I'm working my way up to it right now.
Dude,
so
it's
I'm
good.
on trying to read every single Batman book on my shelf, and so
Dude,
I'm
you're a
like
monster.
reading or rereading, right? And so I read all of No Man's Land and all the 90s stuff. I just got War Games, so I need to go back and read that. And then I just got Nightfall Volume 3, so I'm reading that. But I read New 52 Volume 1, and then I read Eternal, and then next up I'm going to do Volume 2 of New 52, Detective Comics, and then Batman and Robin, and then finally I'll get, you can't see it, but down there is Tinian's Detective Comics.
How long does it take you to read a, medium-sized omnibus?
It depends on the quality of the book.
Yeah.
I think like Nightfall, like some of these books are so wordy too, Like if it's like a Hickman omnibus, yeah, it's just gonna take me a while. If it's like, I don't know, like a 90s Batman book, a lot of this, it's super easy to read, right? The art really shows you everything you need to see, and there's not that much depth behind like the things they're saying. So you can really, I can crush like a Nightfall in like 4 or 5 days, but it'll take me like maybe like a week or two to read maybe, New 52 Volume 1.
Okay. Yeah. I've been in a reading slump lately, man. I haven't been reading a ton of comics this past month.
Sometimes you gotta take breaks.
Yeah, you do.
It
You
could, it
do.
could be too much. I might need a Batman break soon. I might go read some indie.
Right. All right. So we did third to last place. So now we're in the top four, right? So fourth place, we got the volume 3. That's titled. Oh yeah, that's the Death of the Family crossover. Do you remember the scavenger hunt that Damian put Bruce through?
Yeah.
That I loved, man. That was not Batman action crime, nothing. It was just awesome. Like Damian.
Was that in the Death of the Family one?
That was in the volume 3, yeah. So it was collected with the Death of the Family trade, but it wasn't that. If it's those volumes usually collect a couple tie-in issues and then a couple. This isn't connected to Death in the Family, but it was the first issue in this volume.
I see. Yeah, no, that was a really great arc, I think. And basically, Damien sets up this scavenger hunt for Bruce to find all these clues, and every single clue gives him a deeper insight into Damien doing research about Bruce's parents and then
Yeah, the
showing
Wayne
him.
legacy.
It's so cute because it's Bruce bonding with his son. It's Bruce having this moment to be like, okay, Damien finally is like understanding how to appreciate the Wayne legacy. Meanwhile, so Bruce is in Europe going to find all these clues. Damien's dressing up as Batman, running around the city as a little like 5'1" Batman, beating people up. It's so fucking fun, so sick.
And it
Really
shows another
heartfelt.
side to Damien. We've seen him being a dick, an asshole, a murderer. And finally you see the kid in Damien reaching out to his father as a kid, not a fighting partner. So I love seeing that side of Damien. I love that there is that side of Damien. I love that he's not just a prick.
Mhm.
So to see the moments of love and caring is really, I loved it. Then right after that, He goes back into badass mode, and they're dealing with the Court of... This also, I think, collects the Court of Owls tie-in, too. But that's when the Talons or whoever are attacking, and the military's having a tough time, and he starts ordering the military on how to do it. So it was a couple different issues of, like, the best of Damian on both sides of Damian, the loving kid and the assassin.
Yeah, I loved seeing him. I think I talk about this in my video. I don't know if you remember, but Scott Snyder talks about how he doesn't like to write Damian Wayne.
His kid is 9 years old. That was interesting.
Yeah, so when you read New 52 Batman, there's like not a lot of Damian Wayne in it. And it kind of sucks because there's a lot of really cool things Scott Snyder does. Like Court of the Owls is so interesting. Death of the Family is awesome. But you don't see a lot of Damian in it because Scott Snyder felt very uncomfortable writing Damian because his son was the same age as Damian. And I think it was difficult for him to write a child that age in such violent and dangerous situations. Which is why I think this book is so paramount and important, because it can take those really big ideas that Scott Snyder was cooking with and condense them into really concise and solid Damian stories.
Yeah, at least there was a writer that was comfortable writing him in violent scenarios.
Yeah.
But that is such an interesting fact about Scott Snyder. So yeah, when I saw that in your video today, that was, it really stood out. Because there's such a lack of Damian, which it could make it hard for the reader to timeline it if you haven't read Batman and Robin. Luckily, these tie-in issues give you that timeline, but if you go read Scott Snyder's Batman, yet it's following on the same timeline, and then there's an absence of Damian, that is kind of weird. They should have thrown him in the New 52 Teen Titans.
I never read it. Was it good?
No, don't read it.
No.
Don't even do it. I mean, you never know, dude. You never know. Some people do like it.
Basically, my New 52 motto is I just want to read every Batman New 52 story, and I'm trying to collect them all right now. I think I have basically all of them, because I have Snyder, I have Detective, I have Eternal, and I have Batman and Robin Eternal.
I didn't like Detective either. There was 1 or 2 arcs I liked, but overall it was just a lot of like sexualization and I'm just thinking of the Bunny character. She's over there bending over every other panel, and it's no depth. It's just a lot of like violence and action, and Batman getting just destroyed. And you're like, okay, you're recovered the next day. I don't know. I didn't like that one too much.
Damn. Did you read Eternal?
Yeah, Eternal was really hit and miss, man. I loved a lot of it. I really liked the Maroni, or whoever the main the villain came back, right? With the scratches on his face. And I really loved the gangster. It felt like the Penguin at times a lot. There was a lot of the grounded gangster violence, not a lot of superhero violence. Hush comes in later, which is okay. I think it's really hit or miss, is Batman Eternal.
It's interesting because I've never read it, but I've only heard bad things about it. I've never heard anybody praise Batman Eternal. And so I was really hesitant going in. I read that omnibus in like maybe 7 days. I can understand if you were reading it when it was coming out, how it'd be annoying, because every issue is just like, it's basically like 52 issues leading up to like, who is this big bad person? And then you find out who the big bad is, and you're like, that's it? Seriously? But there's like 5 different arcs going on at the same time. You have Stephanie's spoiler stuff. You have Tim Drake working with what's her name, Harper. You have Batman doing his thing, going everywhere. You have the Batwing stuff, which was definitely my least favorite. And then you have like the gang stuff and Catwoman stuff, which I thought was so cool. I really love what Batman Eternal does with Catwoman, kind of repositioning her in Gotham as this like very powerful crime-oriented figure. So I didn't hate it. I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5. I thought it was pretty solid, and I really love how Bat Family oriented it was too. Because like I said, I love the Bat Family. You get the origin of Spoiler. You get a lot of really great Tim Drake moments. You get a lot of really great Batwoman and Batgirl moments as well. A lot of Jason Todd, surprisingly. And I thought it was really solid. I didn't hate it, which, I'm surprised because I'm usually pretty critical, but I guess I got a soft spot for Batman too, so.
Yeah. Well, and they had this one artist. It's one of my favorite artists bleeding into it. I think it was the same artist as Darkseid War.
Jason Fabuk?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think he might be my single favorite. He is so damn good, dude.
Yeah.
And I remember the Penguin has one of the coolest comic scenes when he goes and attacks Falcone. He goes and attacks him. It's the most menacing Penguin I've ever seen. So I thought that was cool to see the little weirdo actually being menacing, directly getting his hands dirty in a way, So yeah, there's some stuff to like there. is nothing like Paul Dini's omnibus. I had to bring this up today too because I feel like that's literally some of the absolute best Batman content ever, and no one talks about it because it doesn't have arcs like big events like Court of Owls or anything like that. It's just 1 to 4 issue arcs that are small and they feel like Batman animated series, except this is comic. The quality is a little higher. It's more for adults, right? The Batman animated series is great, but it's not like I can go sit back and rewatch that. It's for kids. But this Paul Dini Batman stuff has that feel while being more mature, so an adult can read it and enjoy it, and it's like peak Batman stuff.
There's one issue in there that I read, and I read that issue, and I just was like dumbfounded the entire time. I don't think I've been this locked into an issue, and I don't know what issue number it is. It's a Detective Comics issue, but I think it's called Sleigh Ride.
Yes, I was gonna say it.
Yeah,
same thing. It's like one of the best single issues ever. And I was gonna say Sleigh Ride. I was waiting for you to. Yes.
It was like I was jaw on the floor. One of the strongest Joker stories, just menacing Joker taking Tim Drake and this sleigh ride through Gotham City, and you're just like, oh my god, this guy's crazy. You always see Joker on this like massive level, like he's this huge syndicated crime boss that has this master plan that would order in chaos, and you rarely see these Joker moments where it's just like pure anarchy, pure unadulterated non-meticulous chaos, and that's what Sleigh Ride is. And it's just this like tortured and twisted story of Joker doing these horrendous things, and you're just like, oh my god, this is what it's all about. Like, that's how you do it.
Speaking of the Joker, so back to New 52 Batman and Robin. So we're still at volume 3 because the other point I wanted to make out was the Joker being in this I really enjoyed too. Do you remember the conversation the Joker had with Damian about how ridiculous the dynamic of Batman and a Robin is in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
So calling out, everything like in our reality, everything that makes that stupid. Batman incorporating teenagers into crime fighting. That's stupid, dude. I don't like this. That's just dumb. But it's still fun to read, but it's just cool to have the Joker sit there and lay that all out because we all kind of feel it. They always kind of use the villains in a way to portray a message that's like they're getting ahead of certain gripes that people might have. That's hard to explain. But I really enjoyed seeing the Joker just sit there and call out that Robin and Batman dynamic in the first place.
Well, I'll be honest, I can't recall too much from this scene, but what I do remember is the way Joker talks in that the Death of the Family stuff is so like cryptic and kind of like I had to reread it a couple times because it was a little difficult to decipher. He's talking in like almost like riddles, like these weird esoteric messages, and I'm like, what is he saying?
In the regular Batman event, the regular Death of the Family, I remember that's one of the best like horror scenes I've seen is when they're in Jim Gordon and the police station and the lights go out. And then it's done so well on page, which I don't feel fear from comic books, even if it's supposed to be a horror. It's really hard to feel fear. I'm not saying I'm sitting there shaking in my boots, but it was done really well when the lights go out and people start dying a little bit off screen, a little bit on screen, sounds in the background, a shadow in the background, blood splatter. Like I was like, man, this is really good for like a little horror scene for the Joker. But that's not Batman and Robin. That's Batman. Death in the Family's good though.
Yeah, no, Death in the Family.
Death of the Family.
Death of the Family is. I think a lot of people dislike it. I don't think they like what happens with the Joker. I think it's pretty fun, and I really like how it kind of goes full circle with the Endgame as well. I think a lot of people don't like Endgame, but I feel like Endgame is like very satisfying conclusion to the whole Snyder Joker.
The conclusion
arc.
is great. Overall, Endgame is way below Death of the Family for me, but still essential.
Definitely.
So now we're in the top 3 arcs, in my opinion, anyway. So the third place is Volume 6. This is Batman trying to find Damian's body, getting his body back from Ra's al Ghul. The Justice League comes into town. They're very involved in this issue, this volume. So I thought this one was very plot-oriented. It was a very clear path, right, story-wise. And then you have all this Justice League action. Batman is just pissed, going crazy. It was tense. You're on the edge of your seat because you need Batman to get his boy's body back. You're like, please get this done. And all the other Justice League people coming in. I feel like the Justice League really can complement the character of Batman so well because without them, you can't write him in the way where this man without powers exceeds all expectations and figures out a way to stand next to these people. So that's one of my favorite aspects of Batman, seeing him thrive next to Justice League members who are so powerful. So usually if you have a bunch of Justice League members involved, I think it's a lot of fun. And they didn't overpack a bunch of Justice League members in this series, but this arc had a ton of them, so it led to a lot of fun stuff. Do you remember this arc?
I'll be honest, it kind of bleeds in with the last arc for me
You
a
read
little.
omnibus form, so
Yeah.
it's 100%.
I do remember really enjoying. That's where he teams up with. Is it the Frankenstein? Is it?
That was issue 4, so he dissects Frankenstein, or maybe he is teaming up with him at
No,
this
I
point.
think he goes back and like teams up with
Gotcha.
Frankenstein.
Okay.
And they're like walking through some snowy area trying to find the body.
Right.
But yeah, also like we can get into that issue later. I don't know if it's in this arc, but where he dissects Frankenstein and like leaves him alive. I was
My
like,
second
oh my
favorite
God,
arc. It's
that
a
was
great one.
nasty.
Well, the whole thing, yeah, because these two volumes bleed in together. This is the same goal. Batman's trying to... The volume 4, this is on my ranking as my second favorite, is where he dissects Frankenstein. The whole volume is the angriest Batman you've ever seen, tearing through criminals on the street.
Is that the one with the silent issue?
Very possibly. Yeah, I think so.
That silent issue is so good.
So good.
So good.
God, and there was another issue I forgot with, maybe it was the same issue, but his butler. Why am I drawing a blank?
Alfred.
Alfred.
Where they're doing the replays
Yes.
of the mission, right?
That
and
made
Bruce
me
Wayne
tear
is,
up.
is just replaying the mission where Damian died over and
Yes,
over and over
dude.
again. And
Heartbreaking.
Alfred is like, "You gotta stop," and Bruce is like, "No, no." And he
Dude.
keeps replaying. Nightwing comes in and he does it with him, and then they leave, and then Bruce Wayne comes down and he sees Alfred replaying the mission, seeing and Alfred's like, "What could have I done differently?" And that was one of the first moments where I kind of just like really grasped with the fact that Alfred is a father to these kids
Yes.
more than Bruce.
100%.
Like Alfred is such an impactful and important figure in their lives, and his presence is often understated. And I think we always see Batman grapple with this trauma of losing Jason, of losing Damian, right? And seeing Alfred break down and cry, it was just like, man,
Dude,
gosh,
deep.
that poor guy.
One of the more powerful comic panels I've ever read. Like, that hit me. You know, I was like, that's strong. Strong writing, well done.
No, I love that. Yeah, that's a really great pick for number 2.
Yeah. So that's that. And then my favorite is volume 1. Not a lot to dissect here because it's just simply establishing their relationship and Batman and Robin crime fighting. I thought Nobody was a pretty cool villain. I thought Damian killing him at the end of this it's not what I expected. This is a comic. You always expect the whole, like, he's going to overcome it and do the right thing. But it's nice to take a darker path. I know he kills this guy at the end. And I just love that for Damian. Damian's such a badass. You don't want to have him watered down. He's like this weird little Bat family Punisher. That's more like Red Hood. But Volume 1, it just encapsulates Batman and Robin. It encapsulates Gotham and what they do in Gotham. And the dynamic of Batman and Robin together crime fighting. And now that it's Batman and Son, it felt like it was the first time that Robin should be there next to him. It wasn't Batman's choice to have this kid trained as an assassin. He's already an assassin, which makes it so perfect. That Batman is like, I have no other choice to make him my Robin. Whereas recruiting teenagers off the street, bringing them into crime fighting seems off. But you have your son that showed up at 10, 12, 13 years old, already an assassin. Like, Robin, being a Robin is probably the best possible outlet for him. Like, take all this training, take how your mind was molded as from a baby and point it in the right direction. So it's like, now this Robin makes sense. This Robin has a place. This Robin is not a Robin where it's like, why the hell did Bruce recruit that? Like, no, it all makes sense. So there's something refreshing about that. It feels whole. So now they're fighting crime together and I don't have that gripe of, why the hell do you have a kid with you? It just makes sense, and it's refreshing, and it's action packed, and it's dark and violent, and it's touching, and it's father and son. So Volume 1 is just like one of the perfect little Batman and Robin arcs ever. It might be the best ever.
Yeah, one thing about that arc that really actually caught me off guard, I feel like I'm usually quick to notice when a story is going to swing a certain way, is at the beginning of it, I think Batman and Damian get into a little bit of a fight about, Damian's methods, and Damian kind of just leaves, and he joins the villain, and the villain is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show you about your father. I'm gonna show you how to actually solve these issues. So Damien, for like a whole issue, is training with this bad guy. And it makes sense. And honestly, like, I thought it made sense. I'm like, Damien is angry, he's violent, he wants to create change in the world, and this guy is going to enable him to kill criminals. That's what Damien wants to do. Turns out it's a twist. Like, Damien was only hanging around this villain so Batman could find out where he was without telling Batman. And it was a really full circle moment where they really caught me off guard. I thought Damien like lost trust in his father, but he was really just angry, and he kind of misplaced that anger into a covert mission that maybe wasn't as uh, obvious as it should have been. And I thought that was a really fun way to switch up the pace, because I don't know about you, I didn't see it coming.
I'm so glad you brought it up. I forgot about that whole aspect. And so, yeah, absolutely love that, right? You fully believe that he's switching sides because he's angry. There's conflict. He's not agreeing with his dad on everything. And finally, this villain is like, here, you're doing the right thing. Come this way, pal. Like, yeah, you're. So you fully believed that Damien, as a kid, he's immature. He's having a tough time figuring life out still. So there's no reason to believe he wouldn't like go that way. They wrote it so.
And
But then
that
it's so Damien, it's so prepared, it's so I'm here for my father when he does that switch. It's yes, you believe it while it's happening, and then once that twist comes, it's like that's Robin, baby. Like
no, and
he's so
the
loyal. He's so despite his dickishness, he's so loyal to Bruce, which always manifests in really cool moments.
yeah, and I think the fact that at the end of the issue, Damien does end up killing him really adds to like how crazy the whole switch up was, like, and how the entire time Damien really trusted in his father and failed. Like, his father failed him. He had to kill this guy in order to save his dad, right? And it's like that first moment where Batman has to grapple with the fact that he can't be what Damien wants him to be, and Damien has to grapple with the fact that his dad is just a man sometimes, you know? Like, the idea of Batman was built in Damien's head as this giant mythic figure that like never fails. And then when working with him, he realizes that like that's not always the case. Like, sometimes he's not going to get where he needs to go.
Yeah.
And it's really, and then you have this crazy panel right here. What does he say? Like that. What a mic drop ending to the issue. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Come on.
Yeah. That one actually threw me off. I'm like, that didn't seem like something that would come out of Damien's mouth talking to his father. That one line specifically has always been like, that seems out of place.
You think so? I
It seems
I
out of
kind of
place.
interpreted it as like a psychosis moment of
It's
like,
like,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, he's like just doesn't even know what to say.
true. Yeah, I could see that because he does. Gleason did a good job portraying a look of like worry, surprise, concern, depredate, like all kinds of weird trepidation. That's what I love about some of the great artists that might not have the most detail in the world, the coolest action, but the facial expressions do so much more than I realize, after years of reading comics, it means way more now. Which is something that, like a Frank Quietly, which I don't love, but his facial expressions are always really, you know what I mean? That could stand out in art that doesn't seem great.
We're gonna need a whole nother podcast for this discussion. I'm gonna have to cut you off right there. Don't come for quietly.
See, but I think you are better at interpreting a deeper layer, especially of art, than I am. Like, so many people love Frank Quietly, and I'm just like, it feels dull. There's points where I absolutely love it, but then there's points where I'm just like, this is not good. I don't know.
I think the thing about Quietly is that I've talked about this so much, and I feel like a broken record. The way Quietly is able to craft an action scene is always like inventive and creative, and it plays around with the framing of the actual page. It plays around with the panels. It plays around with 3D panel boxes. It uses like the traditional comic style of like hero jumping from here to here, and it kind of reinvents the formula in a way that always like blows me away. Like, when a Quietly action scene pops off, it is, in my opinion, like some of the best action you'll ever see in a comic book.
Bro, when you are done with Batman, you need to read that Alan Moore Swamp Thing, man. You gotta do it. Dude, with your appreciation for depth, I feel like it's right up your alley. Even if you don't like Alan Moore, I swear this is his magnum opus.
One of my friends has it, so I'll try to borrow it from him at some point. But
Still
I'm
top three, baby.
I got a whole year to read all these.
You have 2 years of
I
Batman to
gotta,
read.
yeah. I think I could do it by the end of the year. Got at this point, I got War Games. I got New 52 Volume 2, Batman and Robin Eternal, Detective Comics New 52, Rise and Fall of the Batman, James Tynion, All Star Batman, which is the Scott Snyder Rebirth one. Not All Star. No, not All
Oh,
Star
okay,
Batman
okay,
and Robin.
okay. Not Frank
Scott
Miller.
Snyder. Yeah. And then after that, I have Tom King's run, which I'm really curious about. I know that's a
Yeah.
very contentious run.
No, there's great stuff in there.
After Tom King, I have that Tomasi did a Detective Comics run. And then there's also another Detective Comics omnibus that just came out, which is the Tamaki Detective Comics run with Dan Mora at the beginning of it, I think. And then finally, I'll close it out with Tinion's like just Batman run. It sounds like a lot, but if I
Yeah.
really get nuts with it, I think it's just the one thing I want to do. It's just I want to crush all this Batman
It's
because
funny,
there's
dude. I don't like Batman as a character, but he has the best comics, period. And the movies, to be honest, at this point. It's just somehow the world, the Gotham, everything about it is the best storytelling. I just can't stand the character. His niches, his behavior, his everything. I mean, a lot of stuff. And what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So Batman World's Finest with Mark Waid. I have specifically, I've never done this before, I've waited for the omnibus. I haven't bought a single trade because I read some online and I know it's great. Everything I've heard has been great. But when is this omnibus dropping, dude? Nothing yet?
did you hear about they announced a deluxe edition for it?
God damn it, dude. That
Which
just
kind of
delays.
sucks.
That just
Yeah.
delays it.
There's so many and we talk about omnis though. I'm gonna do a shameless plug right now. My sponsor, Panelbound Comics, you can use my code YooHoo for $2 on checkout. They're doing a really. I'm gonna make a video about this because I think people gotta know. They're doing a 50% off sale for like almost all of their Batman titles right now. So like all of these Batman
This is
omni.
organic priced books.
Yeah, so they changed their name. They're Panelbound Comics now, but it's the same
Oh,
website, same team.
dude, I've been emailing them. I'm like, let's collab. People ask me all the time, where do I buy comics? Where do I buy comics? Where do I buy comics? And these dudes don't email
They
me
haven't
back.
got you back.
No, bro. I feel like I'm a pretty decent place to advertise.
Yeah, no, I'll hit them back up. They're just really annoying. So, cut that down. I'm not. When it comes to collaborative stuff, they can be kind of silent sometimes. Um,
That's
but
fair.
point being,
Well, I see
definitely,
everybody that I communicate with have a fucking ad for them. I'm like, bro, let's go. People are asking me all the time.
damn. I'll reach out to them. I'll let them know.
Yeah, that's all good.
But speaking of omnis too, do you want to hear the list of omnis that are coming out next year that I'm super excited for?
This always depresses me compared to my bank account.
So I actually pre-ordered like a bunch of stuff already that's coming out. Most of it is just like Krakoa X-Men. So they're like finally doing.
Oh, Tell Me X of Swords is being reprinted. I need to get that in my collection. I need to reread it, and that's because of you, bro. I need
I'm
to reread it
sorry.
because of you.
I'm sorry. It's
You're telling me it's not
not
being
being reprinted yet. No.
perfect. Good. What are they doing?
So
All the Omnis and Krakoan era, just skipping
they
that
got
one?
the Jerry Duggan one coming out, the Al Ewing one coming out, and then they just released Fall of X. But the Fall of X Omni sucks. It's so
I
bad.
I read the trade and I sent it back to Amazon.
Yeah. It's not even that it's bad, it's that it's mapped in the worst possible way. Because you know how Krakoa is like kind of like there's like the Fall of X title, and then you probably need to read like Duggan's X-Men, whatever, then X-Men Gold, and then like
Right.
Rise of X, and then Fall of X 2.
And then yeah, like what's Immortal X-Men's really important and all
Yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
like the way you read these like individual issues plays like actually affects what happens in the main Fall of X, Rise of X title. They collect it by issue titles. So it's all of the Fall of X,
Yeah.
all of the Rise
Dude,
of X.
that shows no prudence. That shows no care. It is so annoying when I read Spider-Verse to have to fucking flip over half the book to get this tie-in issue that's on the right timeline. When you do a freaking omnibus, it's $100, it's hardcover, it's gigantic. Why the hell aren't you gonna order it in chronological
Yeah,
order, bro?
I've
Just
low
do
key
it.
stopped buying Marvel as much because they just DC does an amazing job at
Is
this.
that what it is? Okay.
DC is like, I mean, you've read the Infinite Crisis omnibus, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Fucking
I don't
awesome.
even like the story, but you have to admit the mapping of that book is
It made me
Chef's
like
kiss.
Infinite Crisis so much more. And
It's
I
the
have yet to read the Blackest Night omnibus. I'm really hoping that the tie-ins are presented chronologically.
I think they are, yeah. The only DC event omnibus I wouldn't recommend reading is Final Crisis. And
Okay.
that's not even because it's mapped poorly. That's just because like
The extra
when
material is like empty, right? I heard there's a ton of extra material that's just whatever.
essentially Grant Morrison was told that they were going to be able to write a story just by themselves. And then when Final Crisis started coming out, they were like, "Oh, this is kind of hot. Like we need to capitalize off of this." And so a bunch of different artists and authors were creating tie-ins for Final Crisis without the purview of Grant Morrison. And so if you read the omnibus, it's just going to be confusing because there's a lot of contradictory things happening because the Morrison stuff is already confusing enough. And then the tie-in stuff is just like it just contradicts what happens in Morrison's story. But that they mapped it well at least. It makes sense.
But when studios start coming in and changing the creative process, it never turns out good, dude. And Final Crisis is something that I really wish was like way better, even though it's pretty good still. But the idea is like so epic. And if you had Hickman writing that, if you had Hickman doing all the Final Crisis, I feel like it would have been better. Or if Morrison had his original plan seen through, where he thought he was creating most, whatever you said that the studio switched up, or you can't say studio, it's comics, right? You know, I wanted way more out of Final Crisis, and at this point now, I just want a modern Darkseid conflict. Darkseid War is, but it was more him versus the Anti-Monitor. I want to see, like, dude, just give me Darkseid invading Earth again. Give me a modern Justice League event. Because Darkseid doesn't have that one event that's like, this is this great villain.
You have the Grant Morrison JLA.
Rock of Ages.
Yeah.
Overrated in my opinion, bro. I
You
don't
think
get it.
so?
I mean, it's okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But why is it so praised?
It's fun. I don't know.
It's fun, but that's it, dude. It's cool.
Like one
it's
of the
fun.
first like crazy multiverse stories that took itself kind of seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
The peak of Morrison's JLA is some of my favorite JLA, but a lot of it feels too cartoony for me. That's it. But I haven't read.
Yeah.
I actually haven't ever read all of it. I still want to read like more of the Plastic Man oriented stuff. But Darkseid needs a better event because like Thanos has Hickman's Infinity is one of my favorites of all time. So that's and he already have Infinity Gauntlet,
Which sucks.
I can't reread it. I like it just because of some weird nerdy nostalgia, I guess. But
Were you reading it when it was coming out? Like
no. But it was my first introduction. I started reading comics like after that first Avengers movie, and Infinity Gauntlet was one of the first things I picked up.
how did you it made no sense. Like
It was stupid, trust me. Yeah, it was dumb. I'm really glad the movie didn't bring people to a floating slab in space and then have Celestials show up and Thanos just becomes like the living tribute. It was stupid, it was. But I really liked just the setup. Seeing Silver Surfer come warn them. I don't know. Infinity Gauntlet's not that great, dude. I never reread it. I probably never will because it's not. You don't sit there and read that and be like, yes. Whereas Hickman's Infinity, I absolutely feel that way.
Yeah, I want to reread all of the Hickman stuff soon. I really want to get the Shield omnibus that's coming out, which apparently is like originally I thought it was just a Shield comic book, but apparently it's really about like the Marvel cosmos and like the way the Marvel like kind
It's
of
Hickman
like
too?
cosmic universe, is interplayed with the mainline 616.
You don't think cosmic if it's a Shield comic. Like,
I know,
what do you
right?
mean?
Like, I guess it kind of makes sense because they're like the information intelligence
Yeah,
agency, so
fair.
they have all the. It seems like Hickman at his like Hickman, you know.
Yeah.
Have you read East of West?
No, I really, really, really want to. I've heard great things, so that's one of my next indie pickups. Black Science has been like the highest on my list to read next for indie.
Yeah, East of West and Black Science. Prioritize those two. I think you'll get a lot out.
Yeah, after I talked to Kai Bucks was on like a month or two ago, and he was talking about East and West and completely sold me. And then, Cody Collects like the next week was talking about it. So I feel like the universe is just telling me to read this.
Oh yeah, they just came out with the compendium too.
Yeah, it collects the whole thing too, right?
Yeah,
That's the shit. That's what I love about some of these indies. Black Science collected fully in a compendium. Seven to Eternity is actually another indie I didn't bring up that I didn't love, even though it was very action-packed, very like...
Maybe you're just not a Brubaker guy.
Love his Captain America. It's the best Captain America run, period. And I love a lot of Brubaker, dude. I can't sit there and There's a few I like, but Seven to Eternity was Brubaker?
I thought it, or is it Remender? I might be
Yes, it was
tripping.
Rick Remender.
Sorry, my bad. I'm stupid.
And again, Rick Remender, and it was the Opeña, the same duo that did X-Force.
Oh.
Which Remender and Opeña on X-Force is some of the absolute best comics. So you haven't read X-Force, have you?
The Rick Remender X-Force? I read it like a little bit. I have the omnibus. I'm gonna reread it eventually, but I was reading it and I'll be honest, dude, this was at a point in my life where I didn't know much about X-Men. And reading that book as someone who doesn't know anything about X-Men, they're like calling back to Age of Apocalypse stuff and timelines and all this stuff, and
True.
I was just confused. And I
Yeah.
was like, I think I need to like pause on this and come back to it when I got more
X-Men reading.
knowledge, because I think there's a lot of context I was just totally lost on.
That makes sense. Okay, anyway, we should wrap it up. We're at an hour 20. We could talk for another hour. I guarantee it, man. But come back soon. I really appreciate you coming on. Y'all need to go follow Yoo-Hoo Comics. Absolutely incredible material. And anything else on your mind before we go?
No, that's it, man. Thanks for having me. It's always a blast talking with you.
Yes, thank you so much. Honored to have you. And after talking about all this Batman stuff, I thought of our next episode maybe should be a top 10 all-time Batman comics in a few months, maybe
God.
a year. Once
Oh my
you're
God.
done, this could
That's
be
gonna be-
2026, but
It's gonna be a difficult list. We could do
That's-
something before then. You
yeah,
know?
we could do something before
Do you know
then.
what you know what you gotta read? Sorry to stop the ending, but
No, you're good.
I saw you posted a video of your Daredevil ranking. You know what would be fun is if you finally check out that Innocenti run, and I'll read
keep
it.
hearing
we
about
could talk
that.
about that. I think you missed out on that run in your ranking, and I was
Yeah.
really surprised because that's supposed to be a really, really big one.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I find characters like Batman and Daredevil tough to do in that classic age. And it's not, the Nascenti run isn't that old. It's like,
It's just right off of Born Again,
gotcha.
so it's like 86.
That'll be tough, man. Frank Miller's the type of guy that could pull that off. He writes the dark grounded character really well, even in the 80s, right? He thrived in that in the 80s, maybe early 90s. So we'll see, man. Daredevil it's really easy to make Daredevil corny. So
You think
he's
so?
been blessed with amazing writers. Like, I think Batman is the best with all his comics, the most consistently great comics. Right under that, I don't know if it's Daredevil or Green Lantern, but Daredevil has so many good comics.
Yeah,
So
Daredevil's my favorite Marvel character for sure.
dude, he's so good. Is the Nascenti thing even printed anymore?
Oh, it was an omnibus. Marvel Omnis go out of print so fast though. I don't know if it's still available, but I have that's like the one Daredevil omnibus I haven't read, and I've read everything else besides that. And so I do want to read it eventually. And I was like,
Yeah.
if you read it, it'd give me an excuse to force myself to read it, and we could talk more about Daredevil.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Again, go follow Yoo-Hoo Comics on TikTok or YouTube. We're at Why So Sidious Pod, and I don't know what episode we're covering next, but we'll surely have Nerd News, Week in Geeks coming out, and I guess probably some kind of Peacemaker review. That's really exciting. We're so spoiled with shows coming out 2-3 episodes at a time. I was so sad when that episode ended, but I can't wait for next week. All right, that does it. Thanks for tuning into Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast, and we'll see you next time.